And welcome to a Thursday Colonial Downs preview edition for August the 22nd, day number 7 of the Meet Merv. So this is the halfway week, right? Yeah. This is the halfway point week. Racing tonight or tomorrow, depending on when you're watching us. But Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, 9, 9, and 10 again. Basically exact same structure as last week, and I feel like we're falling into a routine a little bit. Things are feeling a little more normal and at home.
We'll shake it up next week when we bring the Virginia Derby in town.
Well, speaking of shake it up, we should mention, we were just noticing, we broadcast from up here in the announcer's booth, the rail started out at 0 feet for the inner, and I believe 70 feet for the outer. And they've moved it out 20 feet last week, so just a little bit wider, and now again 20 feet. So this is kind of the widest setting that we'll have during this meet this week, because then for Virginia Derby week it'll go back to 0 and then 20 for closing weekend. So going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I was looking at stats for the various distances and stuff like that we talked about. 3 out of 20 I think wire to wire wins on the mile turf, but I think it was only so it was 15% winners wire to wire, but it was only like another 6%, so 1 or 2, that won from even close up. The other 80% were coming from off, and it just seems to be that being up front, on
the inner turf.
Yeah,
only one wire-to-wire winner last
that was
weekend.
Chucky Lopez. No, that was 2 weeks ago.
I Dream of Lois was the one.
That's
and she was allowed to go out there and just set a dawdling.
Yeah.
It was 24 and change.
And a good horse
49.
too, right?
It was a 5-horse field,
Yeah.
so she just kind of went out there. It was like a conveyor belt, just for that one race. Other than that,
I feel like the cheaper races that we've seen fall apart more, and we've seen some horses close. In fact, I think even the first horse on the past performance, Optical Illusion, was way back in that race. And I've seen a lot of horses where I pull off the binoculars inside the 8th pole to get because you're zoomed in so far, you want to get more of an overall look.
And
there's somebody flying down the outside that you wouldn't really see. Or multiple horses, and so we've been seeing a lot of that, and horses get up, and we've been seeing big prices too in these cheaper races. I feel like, I think I saw a stat, somebody said favorites only 25% now for the meet, and that was after a pretty good week for favorites in week 1.
Yeah, and sometimes it's really lit up the tote board. Last weekend we had a $150 winner. I think opening weekend there was a $70 or $80 winner.
I think the first one of the meet was a 16-to-1 shot, and we've definitely prices.
Money to be made.
Prices, and I think for the handicapping psyche, sometimes that's difficult for some people. Maybe it kind of only takes one, but sometimes you got to,
Well, sometimes what it does is it really blows up that pick 5.
Yeah,
that has the 12% takeout.
Yep.
I think I've seen a $20,000 payout on it once.
Well, I paid 4 to 5 one night. Nobody had it one night. So, anyways, but lots to think about as we get into week 3. But just looking at the PPs, like starting to feel like, okay, I now know who this was.
Yes.
And we talked about that the first week, that we're all kind of in this together in terms of this all being a new thing. And so, and I've been getting good feedback from people on social media sharing their opinions on the races. So let's dig into them. We'll start with race 1 at 1 1/16 on the inner course. We've had a few of these 1 1/16, but obviously way more of the mile. But I mentioned Optical Illusion, and you went to Optical Illusion.
Yeah, well, you mentioned getting more familiar with the players here. Optical Illusion just ran last week. I picked him in there. I'm picking him again. Mm-hmm. I tend to do that sometimes. Go back to horses that beat me the first time. Yeah. He was well back, right? And only was beaten less than 2 lengths, but was 4th. I thought that was a good race. It came up tough in there, and I just thought he looked the best in here.
This is kind of a funny race. You got the Hartwell, who's the 4 horses coming in off dirt, off a couple of good second-place finishes. Indigo Heart has 4 career wins. They're just jumper races.
Yeah.
So that's why if you see the horse with 4 wins in the program, well, why is it in a maiden race? It's because it was running in jumpers.
Maybe he'll take money because of that.
But look at his last thoroughbred race. He finished second, beat a half length, and at 30-to-1 at Delaware Park at essentially the same level, main 12, 5, and 10. So I don't know. I mean, I know I would shy away from a jumper horse coming back to thoroughbreds, but clearly the horse can run on both.
Yeah, and what's funny is we kind of like it the other way around, right? When we see these horses coming into a jump race off a couple good flat races, it's like, oh, okay, well, interesting. But I took a pass on him here, but did think he would take a little bit of money.
What do you make of Barrel of Stout? I didn't really put a lot of notes other than just a good last finish, and I almost wonder if the horse is either A, going the right way because the last 2 have been good, or B, just kind of ran a good one and might get overbet this time.
Yeah, I thought he ran good, and each of his last 2 to finish second at this level. Comes in from Delaware. We've seen 4 Delaware winners so far this meet, including one this past weekend. Yeah. And reunited with Trevor McCarthy, who, although he's only ridden here maybe, 2 days?
I think 2 days. 1.5, yeah.
Yeah.
Recently engaged Trevor McCarthy, we should add.
Oh, congratulations.
To Katie Davis, who also rides here. So congratulations to Katie and Trevor.
But he rides here, he's good, right? Three wins out of 11 starts.
Yeah, the horse right to his outside, Glenn's Caper, another one who was hit the board 10 out of 25, but when you start getting 0 for 25s for me, they're just, I really lose any, I mean, eventually they might get there. I called an 0 for 43 once at Portland. Like, it does eventually happen for them, but it's just so hard to take those ones, especially if they're sub 6-1, 5-1.
Well, he was the betting favorite last time out when he was over 24, so likely to take money again.
I think for him, getting back to the turf, right, is the key.
Definitely. I just put an X through that last race since it was off the turf.
Yeah. And also, one of the greatest named situations we've ever had in horse racing, number 8, Try Me on the Grass, is 0 for 10, all on the dirt. Finally, they're going to try the horse on the grass, and he's going to be a huge price, and if he wins, I'm going to go crazy. Because it'll be the funniest thing of all time, right? Like, the name has been like just screaming in their face, put me on the grass.
Yeah, even the pedigree, Rote is the sire.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's got to be a reason they named him that. I just thought it was kind of hysterical. Noble Descendant, I think, is one that might take a little bit of money. People are going to see maiden special weight 50,000 dropping down to maiden 10. It was a restricted race, and the restricted races, obviously are very restricted because even though they're not even for just Virginia breds, they're for the Virginia raised, and we talked about that. I gauge a little bit more off the maiden 32, which the horse was still plenty beaten by, but I do think the horse is going to take some money because of Corremanos and because of just coming out of that race last time.
We'll see where he nets out. I thought he might offer some value. People would see that he was kind of well beaten in that last race, but even for a Virginia restricted race, I thought that race came up pretty tough for what it was.
Yeah, Red Roman I took a little bit of a look at because he kind of caught my eye a little bit in that last race. He made a little bit of a move on the far turn and was out wide. It was his first time on the grass, and it was going long, and I just thought that maybe if things go a little bit more his way, maybe he could be a little bit of a price play in here.
Yeah, my price play here was the 3 Dory.
Okay.
He's also taking a big drop out of open maiden special weight last time out. I thought that winner was really strong in there, ever changing. Yeah. And you can see he didn't really lose ground throughout the race, right? He was well back early and then just kind of grinded throughout, actually made up a few lengths. So give him a bit of a shot. I think he's going to offer some value.
That was just her first turf time. Running against the boys here. But I mean, like you said, open maiden, a real open maiden special to the 10,000 claimers is a pretty steep drop. Well, your picks in race 1, Merton?
1-6-3.
The second race on the program. Now, this will be our biggest dirt field if it stays together. Field of 10 here. And at 5.5 furlongs, and it's worth mentioning our track layout again if you are new to Colonial Downs. Our dirt course is 1.25 miles. The turns are really big. They're not quite Belmont, but they're in that ballpark. And they are on the turn for a long period of time. There's been a few times where I have to remind myself they're only coming to the 3/8 pole when they're more than halfway into the turn, and it's a little bit of an illusion. But the reason I'm saying that is because they're going to be starting pretty darn close. We're looking at the 6 furlongs right there. They're going to be starting pretty close to the turn at 5.5, and to me, a lot of the most interesting horses here are on the outside.
Yeah, this is the shortest dirt race we've run so far.
Yeah.
And I think it's also the biggest field that we've had for a dirt race, too.
Yeah.
Because those have come up a little short in here. But speed was deadly on Saturday on the dirt, right? Just they went out there and just didn't look back, which is kind of different from the way that it had played up to that point.
My contention is that the inside is good. Because it seems to me that the two that got the lead last time, but even before that, Quick Hatch was one that came up the inside rallying from off the pace, and the horse that was on the lead stayed in second. I just feel like the flows have been favored inside. Each race, it seems like 2 or 3 of them look like they're gaining ground. They get out there on the outside, and in the stretch, they just don't go by. The first week, that wasn't the case, but the last couple, it just seems that was kind of how it was. But we had a lot of rain last night, Wednesday night. We're recording on Thursday. It dries up real fast here, but you just never know what a big rain can change to a track. So,
I saw that Quick Hatch race differently than you did.
Yeah.
Because the way I saw it was the big favorite was on the lead. Looked like just a much better horse on paper, and yet Quick Hatch was able to blow right by him, even though I think he was like 1 for 15 or 1 for 20 going into that race and just found the winner.
Well, and the other horse, the favorite, was on the inside. I mean, Quick Hatch really got through kind of a tight spot, but I don't know. That's my contention. And again, this is what handicappers do, right? We form opinions, and we all have different opinions. You try to be right. But there's some interesting angles in here. Dane Kabisky with a firster who I feel like I'm giving too much credit to all of his firsters now because of that one.
Because of blood curdling.
Yeah.
I've fallen into that trap as well. But I did look to the outside. I went with Emo in here. Taking a bit of a drop in class, comes in from Delaware. I've already said that we had a Delaware winner last weekend, and I like that she showed speed in both of those races. Yeah. I think she's kind of on the improve. Shows a good work here recently, so that she's been on the shelf for 4 or 5 weeks now. And gets Michael Sanchez in the irons, who's co-leader in the jockey standings right now with 6 wins.
Yeah, I blinkers on too, which to me, with blinkers, it's either a matter of focus or they want to get more speed. I always look to the first workout with the equipment change, and when like you mentioned, it was a really good workout. So to me, it says maybe the horse relished the blinkers a little bit, and I actually like.
I think she needs them. Did you watch that last?
Yeah, race? Yeah. It wasn't the best. It got disqualified a couple of spots, but like I said, I agree with you, and I think it's the 8 has some speed, risen change, good Gulfstream speed, I should mention. The 6 has some speed, high quality H2O or quality H2O. I keep thinking of the Water Boy, Decim, high quality H2O. Like that's what it's from, right? It's got to be.
I haven't seen that one.
Adam Sandler, come on. But the horse has good early foot. And so I just wonder...
And a bunch of wild cards, right?
Yeah, and first timer. And so I really wonder how... Because if Emo's able to just break well, get out there, get the lead, or even just sit second and get over the 2 or 3 path, I think that horse is going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, I think so too. What did you think about Queen Bess?
I think that the workouts have been really good. It's not a horse they paid a lot for, so the 20,000 debut doesn't scare me as much as it maybe would. I mean, the one that we're talking about, Blood Curdling, that was that. I mean, they paid a lot of money for that horse, and to me, it showed. But
and she just looked great.
Well, it was a paddock pick for you, right? Yeah, because I remember you even texted me. You're like, "Holy,"
I said, "How many times did I say that?"
Yeah. You wanted to make sure that you got credit for it, but I don't know. And maybe this is another one of those ones you wait and see in the paddock.
Yeah, no, I'll be taking a look. I take a look at all the Dane Kaviskis now to see how they look in the paddock. There was another firster I liked for Susan Cooney, Verabella, mostly on the connections, right? Mm-hmm. Susan Cooney, won the stakes race before she was disqualified. Sheldon Russell, 6 wins, co-meet leading rider right now, and also I thought good works coming into this race.
Not a lot of works though. I feel like it's not a ton of foundation.
Yeah, if they're all showing up, right? Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I always like to see, at least on 1 5 furlong drill, and we're seeing a couple of 4s that were good. But again, I always want to see a little bit more.
The gaps between Colonial and Laurel, so maybe
Sheldon showing up was kind of what I thought maybe tipped the hand a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt.
Your picks in race 2, Murph?
I went 10, 5, 4.
And if there's anything else you want to mention in a race, just holler at me.
Well, I did notice that Victor Carrasco was in on the 6. That's the first we've seen of him.
Yeah, I kind of like that horse just because of the speed factor. When they dropped down last time, the horse woke up a little bit. Obviously faded, but I don't know. I thought there was reasons to at least be optimistic. To me, with cheaper maiden races, like speed is just such a dangerous weapon. I feel like because there's just a lot of times those horses don't have the biggest hearts in the world. So. Anyways, what was the picks again?
10, 5, 4.
10, 5, 4. Race number 3. I'm excited about this third race. Smaller field, but good race. Mm-hmm. And it's a mile and a 16th on the inner turf course. And there's just some runners in here. Zenobia's coming off of a decent 4th place finish at Belmont. It was a first start here in the States. Frippery for an Delacour. I mean, there's some runners in here.
Yeah. Well, I looked to the rail, Zenobia in here. Again, Sheldon Russell in the irons. Second start here in the States. Thought she could improve. I know it's been a couple months since that first start, but I just thought I thought she was the best in here.
Group 3 winner in Ireland, not even that long ago. I mean, July of last year, but 3 starts ago.
Yeah, and you see some good horses in those running lines. I circled Herdurangi in there.
Yeah, I think that horse is going to take some money, and I think people are going to be interested in it. Hogan's Holiday, I'm kind of interested to see back, because I called this horse at Monmouth to a win in a stakes race there. It was actually a track record performance, and they run a lot of turf races at a mile and a 16, 139 and 2. And it's Monmouth again. Their 1 mile and 16 starts at a shoot, so it's kind of a 2.5 turn race. And going 22 and 1, 45, there was 2 of them that were just drilling each other up front. And so he definitely got the setup, or she rather got the setup, but came running with a furious late rally and then really didn't fire last time. You can see the pace much, much different at Laurel Park, literally 3 seconds slower to the 3/4 time, but only 4/5 of a second slower at the final time. So trying to close into horses who were coming home much faster than the ones last time. And Robert Falcone, who takes over the training, he has some big time numbers. I'm curious to see what Hogan's Holiday does.
I thought she was going to be the betting favorite in here, based on that running line, because it seems so much better, or just more accomplished, maybe. But
I mean, just beating a length in a grade 3 in the Honey Fox. I mean, those are,
But what I couldn't figure out is, why is she in for a tag? She's the only one in here in for the tag. A stakes winner, track record setter, 2 back, and now up for sale. I didn't get that. I mean, she's not in for a cheap tag, but it's,
I mean, it's a $110,000 payday if they win and get claimed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's equivalent to winning a $200,000 stakes event. So maybe, and that's a lot of money to put in on a claim. But I feel like it's not out of question with some of the connections we have here for somebody to plop money like that down.
I would think so. Well, you mentioned the pace scenario over last race. I don't think she's going to get a better pace to run at here. I was thinking that the 3 Frippery was possibly lone speed in here, and she's not really
There's
true
no
speed
true front
horse.
runners in here. Yeah,
I thought she would just reluctantly inherit that.
But then again, how has this course been playing? So
right,
this race to me is just so fun because it's good horses and there's just a lot of little angles. The Delacour horse you mentioned, Frippery, every horse he's had is hit the board so far. I mean, his horses have been running well here, even though he's just got the 1 win.
Good race. I went 1, 3, 5 in here.
Yeah, I mean,
I could make a case for
even American Frolic has been keeping pretty tough company. Just beaten 2 lengths last time in a stake over at Ellis Park. And as I've said before, those Ellis races are not a huge drop off from Churchill. There's some salty waters over there.
No.
So.
We've talked about how Ellis has come a long way recently, but those Kentucky shippers were ice cold last weekend.
Yeah. Even Madam X on the far outside. I mean, I didn't see anybody that was worthy of tossing, and I thought every one of the horses you can make a case for, which to me makes for a fun race because it's also the smallest field early on, and I think some people are going to be tempted to go kind of narrow in their early pick 4s and stuff like that. But
it's tough to really confidently toss any
I know. So that's why, to me, it's maybe you look for your singles in the big fields, get some separation there. Maybe this is the race you spread a little bit.
Raining Lemons, Madam X, and the 6 horse in here, they all come out of the same
I said
race.
Goyaba last time.
Goyaba.
Because that was in that Hogan's Holiday race and didn't do much running that day. So.
Well, they all came out of the same race and finished within a couple lengths of each other. Yeah. So just really, really tough race to figure out.
And your picks again?
1, 3, 5.
4th race on the card, back to the Inner Turf, or staying on the Inner Turf, I should say, and maiden $10,000 runners. And again, we're starting to see some of a lot of the horses back for a second time in here. I had one of my price plays in here, some first timers in here, big field. This is these races so far, the cheaper maiden ones, these are the ones I've been having the most trouble with.
Yeah, same. I did go with a horse that's wheeling back. The 3 Palmetto Blue comes out of a maiden special weight race. Big drop into the claiming ranks here and didn't run all that bad. 4th beaten 3 lengths against what I thought was just much better than what he finds in here.
And kind of against the track profile was pretty close up and kind of just kept fighting. And gets blinkers this time, so.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a price on him, but I did think he looked awfully tough to beat in here.
Yeah, there's a few in here, but we've seen a lot of these horses who haven't run a jump in a first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starts who get here and fire, and there's a lot of ones that you kind of got to be forgiving on, and that's totally my long shot angle with the 7 War of the North, is that it was not a good debut at all, but it was against maiden special weights at Ellis. The horse took some money, 7.5 to 1 in a 10-horse field, and goes for very good connections. They didn't pay a ton for the horse, so I'm not that scared that there's a big drop, but they're putting blinkers on, they're dropping, they're doing a lot of stuff, and I just thought that with a field that's not too strong, it could be interesting. Also, the horse right to the outside, Orbador, Jamie Ness has been
on fire,
sizzling here. So.
And Orbador was well bet in his debut as well. So
and about the same level, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Who were some of the other ones you mentioned? Just Chill Out.
I like the 6 Just Chill Out at 5th at the maiden 40 level, but I thought that race came up as tough as a maiden special weight event. Yeah. Mun Passage looked awfully good that day. He's nominated to come back in the Rosie Stakes later this meet. And he was closing ground in that race. So I think that was at 5.5 furlongs. He'll benefit from the extra distance, so I'll give him a big shot in here.
Yeah, the horse that was 3rd behind Mun Passage and just ahead of Just Chill Out, Belle Reve, is in. I can't remember if it's later today or Friday. We'll get there in a minute, but I actually thought I kind of like that one when we get to it. But yeah, Mun Passage just sat in behind, got a good trip, and really accelerated nice. Jose Valdivia, I believe, was on board for that one. Any other ones you want to talk about?
What do you think about the 4 in here, Chasing the Candy? What an odd race last time out. I had to go watch that one, right? way back early, made this big kind of middle move, and then flattened out. Yeah. But I just thought it was interesting that he showed so much earnest at some point in the race. Now gets onto the turf.
Because the debut was pretty decent.
Yeah.
And the barn is pretty good with just in general. Teresa Connolly hits a pretty good percentage. And Bob Bone, it's kind of cool to see Bob Bone's name in the. He was such a prominent owner for years in Southern California. Got away from things a little bit, I think, or just kind of reduced size. But I remember he was good friends with Luke Greitboss, and he used to fly Luke out to Saratoga every year for a weekend trip. Luke used to tell me about being on Bob Bone's plane. So shout out Bob Bone. Good to see him back. Remember your picks in the fourth race?
I went with 3, 6, 4.
Okay. And 8 if you went for a fourth one.
And 8.
Fifth race starts our 12% takeout, pick 5, and going 7 furlongs on the main track. Have we had a 7/8 main? I feel like we've had a lot of 6s and a couple of miles.
But I don't think so.
Yeah, 7/8 kind of starts right at the on gap, but just about as the chute and the main track meet up. So it's kind of a full backstretch run for this one.
Yeah, my top 2 picks are both in for the tag in here. The 3 Irish Colonel, second by just a nose, a whisker at Delaware last time out. He was running into kind of a strong pace in there, I thought. But I think if the track is playing 2 closers again, he might be one with a big shot. And then I did like He's No Bull on the other end. I kind of expect He's No Bull to kind of go straight to the front.
Yeah.
Seems to be his profile. This will be his second start here. He did finish 4th to DeGrom, but only beaten 3 lengths in a race that I thought came up.
And he was kind of in between horses, not in the greatest of spot. I mean, he was in a good spot early, but somebody kind of looped up alongside of him, and then it was DeGrom who went by him. But I thought he kind of kept battling and dug in pretty well. Though He's No Bulls. And TD Vance right now is clicking on all cylinders here.
I thought he looked like Lone Speed in here too. I just couldn't find a whole lot of speed to go with him in here.
Yeah, I was a little bit interested for price-wise at the 7, just because I thought it was such a not great wide trip last time, and still kind of was digging in after a really good debut at Indiana. Ignacio Correjas, he sometimes comes in with some prices if Forrest Boyce sees fit to ride. Just thought that one was a little bit interesting. And what about the horse on the outside, who was a runner in Panama and running, pretty well, and then came up here and just got dusted in an open allowance, but drops to 25. This is a big drop, if anything, for a horse that has 10 wins.
It is. Yeah. Well, there's no omen here, right?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. And then, there was a salty group he was up against.
I like the running line says overmatched.
Yeah. Well, it felt like Kukulkan. Remember that horse that was undefeated? This horse obviously is not Kukulkan, but Kukulkan, they tried the Pegasus World Cup, got dusted. But then when he dropped down to a reasonable allowance level, he came back and won. So, this was kind of a tricky race. I thought you could make. These are the best races, ones where you can make a case for a number of horses and you want to have an opinion. We sure shouldn't ignore Jeremiah Englehart down on the rail. He's only sent one up here, and I think it was one in the stakes the other day. But his barn wins at a crazy winning percentage, and this horse is coming off a very good finish after being way, way wide.
Yeah, well, you can't ignore the 4 Carte Blanche in here either. He's been running a little bit longer, but he's come closing in every single race. Mm-hmm. I thought it was interesting. Miguel Menez listed to ride, but that's the only horse he's listed on. So I think that's unlikely.
Yeah, I would guess so as well. And Delinquent, I actually called Delinquent's maiden win. It was a short price. It was like this. It was my second day at Gulfstream Park West because I started the 14th of November, and Dane Kabisky, I think, won 4 in the first 2 days. And I just remember it was like this sea of green silks that were winning every race. But it was still, the horse got a pretty good number, but it's been a little while since we've seen it. Going to be curious to see what it looks like in the paddock because, you go to the bench for 7 months after a win is not the best sign.
Slow works coming in here, I noticed.
Anyways, your picks for the 5th, Merv?
I went with 3, 6, 4.
6th race on the card begins our late pick 4. Late pick 4 has been popular. They've been getting a lot of money in those pools. And this race, we moved to the outer turf. We saw a bevy of 5.5 outer turf races the other day. Felt like a lot of them were going to stalker, pouncer types on the outside who were sitting 3rd, 4th. And
speed was just collapsing.
Yeah.
I think we ran 5 races in a row.
It was the entire late pick 5. Yeah. All the stakes and everything.
And just speed could not hold. But they were brutal early paces in each of those races. I think 21 and change in 4 or 5 of them. So
I almost wonder if the big sweeping turn in a way is tougher on the speed just because maybe the thinking for me at least is they're wider turns, so they shouldn't be as taxing on the horse. But I wonder if just because they're turning more, if maybe I don't know. Something to think about.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm trying to explain why it's been so tough. And like we said, the rail is going to be out a little further this weekend, an extra 20 feet. So there will be more turning to be done. And obviously the gate will
wider turning.
Yeah, wider turning. So we'll see how that. Because I think theoretically, like I know at Monmouth, they always said that usually the more turn, the harder it was for the closers, because then they end up way out there, and if they go wide.
Yeah, that would make sense. But I could see both theories. I don't know which one I land on though. But that's not how the outer turf had been playing previously, because speed was killer up until Saturday.
Yeah. But anyways, the 6th race, Merv. What were your thoughts on this one?
Well, I looked all the way to the outside. Thump coming in from Monmouth.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought, even though the claiming price stays the same, I thought that race was just a little tougher in there. It was third, beaten 4 lengths. I just thought he's got the best speed figures. He's going to improve second off the layoff. There was just a lot to like for him.
Yeah, I went with Little Snip as my price point here. Just coming off a win. The horse seems to be in good form right now and has a little bit of back turf history. And actually, this race in particular just seems like there's a lot of horses that have just a couple of wins from a lot of starts, and this horse has got a little bit of back class. So, but a tricky race. It seems like there's, Dennis Ward has an entry in there that are both, one of them's coming off a win and jumping up in class. The other one's coming off a couple of races down at Gulfstream. Thought there was, again, I hate to be repetitive, but I thought there was a lot of cases to be made.
Yeah, I originally had picked Dorothy from Dublin as my second pick in here, but I did see that she got entered back on Friday, so I would expect her to come out of here. And I didn't like the entry mate quite as much, although Florida shippers were tearing it up last weekend.
Yeah, I tend to believe Gulfstream is not an easy place to run at any point in the year. Lady Greatness, I think, was entered last week, but didn't, because I distinctly remember seeing the Saffie Joseph to Gerald Brooks angle, so not sure what it was. Maybe it was a matter of they wanted to wait for this race. The horse shows a really fast work here at Colonial since coming over here. So
I like the 2 in here a little bit. Lady Kim, jumping in class, right? She beat much softer in her last 2. Yeah, coming in high, likes the turf. You don't see a recent race. And then Michael Sanchez in the irons.
Yeah, was third for turf for 20,000 at Gulfstream and an Open 20,000, 50-1 that day. So, and that's kind of the only that is the only turf race the horse has. But it was a solid performance. Kind of made a big middle move and just flattened out a little bit. Your picks for the 6th race?
Have you found a race where you could single yet?
It's tough, man.
It is a tough card.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like my idea of it is, when I think things are really tough, I think the inclination is spread. But to me, it's go narrow. If you miss, you miss. But if you hit, you're going to get paid gangbusters. The other thing to think about too is people fall so in love with pick 4s and pick 5s, and we love our 12% pick 5. Ain't nothing wrong with just an exact.
That's true.
And so
might be time to play the vertical.
Yeah. I mean, it's. Yeah. 7th race on the card. We're back to the inner turf. We're back to a mile. And I was just looking at this horse on the rail, Speed App, who we saw win on the dirt opening week. But it was to me, this is a light bulb play because, just to me looked like a good winner.
Yeah.
After taking quite a while to break through, but was running against such tough horses.
Yeah, that was just a visually appealing win. I remember I watched it from the rail. There was a big favorite in that race too.
The Empty Tomb was the first time
start there. So that was his first start in a while too. So I think he's eligible to even get better in his second start. And his run around of ground previous to that effort too, with decent speed figures. So it'll be interesting to see him on the grass. I thought he was an easy top pick for me in here.
Did you have Wetumpka anywhere, the number 3? Because I thought, shortening up, they went really fast last time, 46-2 for a mile in a 3/16 race, and the horse hung around at least the top of the stretch. And County Court, who won, made a big move from the back. Jay Beresford Tipton, who was second, I think, is nominated for the Derby. Or no, maybe not the Derby. Oh, it is the Derby. Yeah. And so, and then this is a big class drop. I thought there was reasons for this horse to have a better time of things this time.
That was a tough race, and I picked Wetumpka, so of course I've got to have him in my selections here. I thought he could offer good value in this race, though, because I just thought he went too fast early, and he shortens up significantly. That was that long distance outer turf race, the 9.5 furlongs.
I have in my notes for Hillsdown, scratched last week and in better spot today. Am I right that one was an entered last week? I don't know why I have that.
Don't know that off the top of my head. Possible.
Yeah, I'm trying to think why I
think he is in a good spot here.
Oh, you know why I thought that? It's because this is the horse who was second for maiden 30. They jumped up to maiden special and got the win. And I remember commenting when we were doing our show that was such an odd move to see a horse run for maiden 30 and then jump up, not win, jump up to maiden special and win.
It was a good move.
It was probably a $10,000 or $15,000 move.
And now back to claimers.
So I'm almost positive this one was a scratch, but I wonder if they, I just, in my notes I said better spot. I wonder if they thought this was going to be a better place for him. But I should mention George Weaver's got one in here, the 7 Noble Lion. George is pretty solid trainer up in New York, and this horse coming off a win in New Jersey.
Yeah, with Paco Lopez in the irons. No Paco on this Thursday? Gotten used to seeing him here on Thursdays?
Yeah. The 9 horse, I was lectured a little bit by Virginia fans. I didn't say it.
By Jill Byrne, too.
She didn't tell me. But I was saying Wahoo, but I think it's Wahoo-Wah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Because she told me, she goes, it's said.
She'll be monitoring.
She told me, she goes, it's said just like it's spelled. I go, well, I said it how it's They need to make it like 3 words, Wahoo-Wah.
She'll be assessing your performance.
Yeah, I was going to say, so if there's a new person hosting in this chair next weekend, you know why. It's because I said the UVA horse's name wrong. Anybody else you want to talk about in this race?
Well, that one, I totally tossed him in the last race and thought he ran really good. He was only 4 lengths beaten by Jag, who I thought was a standout in that race.
Yeah, Jag just coasted. That was another. Yeah, he wasn't on the lead, but he was sitting third, just right in behind the leader. Yeah, and was he didn't win by a whole lot, but he looked pretty darn comfortable the entire way. Yeah, your picks for race 7, Merv?
1, 3, 5.
8th race, we stay on the inner turf course and maiden special weight event for fillies at a mile. Michael Matt's first time starter in here, a Mike Stidham first time starter in Dark Lightning that they paid a lot of dough for, $310,000. Belle Reeve, who I mentioned earlier, was coming out of a race that I kind of like this horse. Shug's got a nice one in here. I mean, this is a Glen Hill Farm. How about Glen Hill Farm with a Warfront horse in here?
Yeah, this race came up
for you pedigree types. This is fun.
Yeah, it was. It was fun. It was fun digging into these pedigrees, and I'm so excited to see Dark Lightning in the paddock, considering how much they paid, but also because she's a half to Chocolate Ride, who was a multiple grading stakes winner on the turf, and a half to Killer Graces, who was a Grade 1 stakes winner at 2. So you kind of got both angles there, right? The precocious angle and the turf angle here for this one.
I want to ask you a morning line question. How come Dark Lightning is just a tick higher than stablemate Love Beach?
I thought that Love Beach kind of showed better works coming into this race, and I thought, and kind of I'm taking a little direction from you because you schooled me the first week and said, I just don't think people pay that much attention to pedigree. Yeah. And you were right, because I monitored those odds and some of those pedigree plays.
I think when it's like the obvious ones, when American Pharaoh's mom has a baby, like everybody knows. But I don't think a lot of people, a majority of people, are like scoping through
pedigree.com.
But again, that's like me and my buddies, and we're not. That's just not our game. And I know there's a lot of people who are, but I always, for first timers when doing odds. But I think you're right. The workouts do show faster for that one than. I mean, there's a few good ones though for Dark Lightning too. Gatework back on July the 4th was very, very nice move. So I'm really excited for this race and the Michael Matz firster, La Babilla.
Yeah, this is a half to Somali Lemonade, who was a graded stakes winner. Well, she was ultimately a graded stakes winner, but even at 2, I think she was graded stakes placed.
Was she out of Lemons Forever? No, different one.
No, different one. Okay. Different one.
Lemons Forever had like 3 straight really good babies, right? Forever Unbridled. Yeah, all those ones. The interesting thing about Michael Matz is he doesn't hit a lot of first-time starters. He's 6% overall and 7% grass debut, but he's profitable in both angles. Like when he hits, I feel like every year at Gulfstream he wins with a 40-1 turf runner, and maybe that's what is propelling him. But like I said, as far as the horses that run, I love this Belle Reeve because the horse broke on the rail last time, kind of got shuffled back early on, and just wasn't in the best of spots, but did come running. Mun Passage, as we mentioned, we thought was a pretty good looking for 40,000, but this is a step up. There's some pretty sharp looking first timers in here, and we should mention Secure Connection too, right?
Yeah, I think Secure Connection is most likely to go off favored in here, with the benefit of a couple races and good races, especially coming in from Laurel.
Is Princess Katie the one that's going to get forgotten in here? 2 straight second-place finishes, but maybe not huge name connections. I mean, Wayne Potts is a solid 15% trainer, and Heavy on Toledo is a good rider. But I feel like this one, I feel like there's so many potential good firsters in here, and Secure Connection ran really well, that this one might get left out a little bit in the betting.
No, I can definitely see that. Yeah. Lots of ways you could go in here.
Yeah, and the Glen Hill Farm horse. I mean, Warfront out of Easter, Tom Proctor, Fergal Lynch coming in to ride, and this horse took a lot of money on debut. It was only 3-1 for the debut in an 8-horse field. It didn't do much running, but clearly was thought of well. So I mean, I just think it's a really interesting race.
I want to see people's pick 5 tickets. Like, if you're tackling the pick 5, what does your ticket look like?
I've talked to a few buddies that have said they were intimidated by some of the late pick 5s. I mean, they are tough, and I mean, like I said, to me, I would be more, because I could see how it would be so easy to have a $215, $300 ticket and not feel like you have all the ones you want covered.
Not feel good about it.
To me, I'm looking for my best opinion of the sequence, singling there, and probably looking for another place to single, and then maybe spread, if I'm insisting on spreading.
And with a race like this, and not to get a chance to see them in the paddock, too, right? Because that could make such a difference in a first-time race like this.
Big time. Your picks in race 8, Merv?
I went 3, 6, 1, but that's subject to change because I want to see these fillies.
Okay, yeah. Stick to Merv's Twitter, which you saw on the scroll earlier on the show, at Merv Huber. The 9th and final race, back on that outer turf course. I like these outer turf sprints. Just as a race caller, they're fun because you kind of got to smash through them, and then once you get through the field, they're already on the turn. The race is almost over. You're just about ready to head out the door. But maidens again, and I was kind of liking everybody toward the outside.
Yeah, I went the same direction. I landed on the 9, Data Princess, even though she hasn't started in 9 months.
Yeah.
So just, a little worrisome, but it is a drop-in class, turf debut in here. Liked the connections on her, so there was enough to overcome kind of that 9-month gap.
Yeah, Mark Cassey had this horse for the first couple of starts. What about the horse right to the outside, the 10 horse? Just because Gary Williams is a pretty small barn, but is hit with 2 first-time starters from just 8 runners, and I thought the last work was pretty good. The light foundation, but I thought maybe one that could be a little interesting, and I think the horse on the outside is going to be interesting as well.
Yeah. The 5-year-old first-time starter.
Can I rephrase?
Yeah.
I think the horse on the outside is going to take money. But
the 10?
The 11.
The 11.
But I don't know I don't think it's a win candidate. But I think you almost, if you're playing tries and stuff, you sure have to consider the horse.
What's your cutoff?
14.
14 is your cutoff. Got it.
To be honest, it's more like 10 or 11, but it depends on what it is. I mean, if it was 0 for 16 at Maiden Special and they're finally dropping to 16, maybe. But this is just the kind of one I want to let beat me. But Michael Sanchez showing up, that was another reason I thought this horse is going to take money.
Yeah, and the Florida Shippers did really well last weekend too. Some at good odds.
Yeah. What? You went with number 9 on top. Nicole, who you also included in your selections, the number 2 horse, was pretty awful first 3 or 4 starts of the career, and then went to Presque Isle and kind of woke up a little bit.
Yeah.
But dropped in class too.
Right, and I think getting back to the turf may benefit her as well. I just kind of looking at that pedigree, it just kind of seems turfy. Animal Kingdom out of a Shamardell mare.
Yeah.
So if she's in better form going into it and moves up on the grass, I thought she stood a chance. Also, I thought she was good speed in here, and there wasn't a tremendous amount of speed.
Yeah, real curious to see how this race. You talked about singles. Your 9 might be the single for that sequence.
Which one?
If looking at the 9 horse.
Oh yeah. I don't know that 9-month gap.
Yeah. Believe me, there's things to be scared about. I'm just saying from the way the sequence stacks up, I could see people going pretty narrow in this race, and I think that one certainly jumps off as a logical. I mean,
how would you feel going into that last race?
I'd be scared to death. Yeah, I'd be scared to death. Yeah, but I mean, just because that last move was pretty solid, and I mean, the workouts have been pretty good for that one coming back. I mean, the ones that well, I guess those have been a while. Never mind. One more on. Yeah, I don't know. This is it's a tough little sequence.
Another tough one to figure out. Did you like the 4 at all? Luna de Fuego.
Luna de Fuego. Let me look. Murray.
Second versus cheaper in her last 2.
Yeah.
But gets onto the turf for this one.
Yeah, I don't know. That's starting to get a lot of starts too, and they had some big defeats against. Kind of, I mean,
she was 4-5 last time.
That's what. Yeah, I mean, the better performances to me, it just looks like she was running against less good horses. Mm-hmm. But we don't know really what they're going to face in here. I suppose the 6 Razzle and Dazzle at least has some speed. Has never kept going at all. In fact, opened up 9 lengths once and was done by the middle of the race. But
we did see a Prairie Rider shipper win last weekend.
Yeah, the 7 I think is an interesting speed horse too, coming from Gulfstream Park. Because if you go 2 back, was on the lead going a mile. But 23-2 at 46-2 is pretty solid. Comes to Gulfstream. Lily Curtinitz is a good barn. CC Lopez is off to a fast start here.
He had a good weekend.
He seems kind of invigorated.
Yes.
I saw him pose. He was doing muscle shots in the paddock. This was actually the one I put the biggest highlight on in this race. But I don't know. It's a grab bag.
Another tough one.
It's going to be a tough one. But as we've said, it only takes one. I mean, I'm still living off my opening day long shot price play. That's the only reason.
DeGrom?
That's the only reason. Yeah, I started realizing like, okay, now you can kind of calm down bragging about that because you've had 5, 6 other chances at it. And Dubini ran good the other night by a long shot. He ran 3rd in the state.
Yeah.
And he was only beaten like a length by Exclusive Kid, who's a monster.
Who was your top price play today?
Oh man, Little Snip was one of them, and War of the North earlier on. So, anyways, Merv, that's all I got. Should we just bid goodbye and say, hey, we'll see you on Friday?
All right.
Let's do that. We'll see you guys on Friday. Good luck Thursday night at Colonial.